The opening verses of the fourth gospel are called the whole gospel in miniature. They tell us who Jesus is, what he came to do, and what that means for us. What do you hear when you listen to the prologue of the fourth gospel? To me, it sounds like a holy duet, two voices with each having equal importance. In the first, I hear a monk's crystal clear, ethereal, otherworldly voice soaring in the nave of a stone-walled abbey church in a monastery. The sound, to me, is reminiscent of Pavarotti. He introduces us to the eternal Word of God. He explains that the Word was with God and was God. The Word is outside the bounds of chronological time. The Word brought life and light into the world, and the light shines in the here and now. The first voice sings, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it." But then, the second voice interrupts. I hear the voice of a man sitting on a box on a street corner, holding a cup to passers-by. His voice is husky and raspy and strained. He sounds to me like Louis Armstrong. He anchors us in the temporal. He introduces John the Baptist, who testifies that God is about to enter into our time-bound world. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify to the light. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. The eternal Word of God doesn't stay outside the bounds of chronological time. The Word is enfleshed in Jesus. Jesus' relationship with God is so intimate that in him we see the essence of God. When we see Jesus, we see God. When we hear Jesus, we hear God. It's been said that the Word represents the self-expression of God. The letter to the Hebrews that we heard this morning tells us that Jesus is the reflection of God's glory and the exact imprint of God's very being. The letter to the Colossians speaks to me when it says, "He is the image of the invisible God." But there's both sadness and joy in the song the second voice sings. Sadly, Jesus was in the world, and the world came into being through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, and his own people did not accept him. But joyfully, the people who received the incarnate Word, who heard what he said, believed and followed him, were welcomed into God's family. Because of the incarnation, we can know a new life in God. Today, through our baptism, we are adopted as children of God, as sisters and brothers of Jesus. The fourth evangelist brings us to the climax of the prologue with a holy duet penetrating the silence. The word gospel means good news. And the fourth evangelist ends the prologue of his gospel by affirming that the Word, God himself, who was before time and who made everything and everyone, became a human being. God was incarnate in Jesus of Nazareth. Because of the incarnation, we can know what God is like by looking at Jesus' life and ministry. Jesus reveals the nature of God. God is love. Jesus shows love and compassion when he heals the sick, gives sight to the blind, and befriends outcasts. And he knows what it means to suffer. For the fourth evangelist, the song of the Incarnation has two voices, the eternal and the temporal, and they belong together in a holy duet. Almost 2,020 years ago, the Word became flesh and lived among us. And that's good news. Thanks be to God.
Amen.